Good morning. Are you all there? Good morning. Are you all there, guys? Good morning, Yashaswini. How are you? Yeah, join the class, then I can start. Good morning, Hadia. Good morning. Madhuling, good morning. Rupa, good morning. Balaji, good morning. I am wondering how to show you the presentations. Maybe I could do it this way, right? Yeah, you can see. So when I need to show you, I'll show you. Okay? Good morning, everybody. Shall I start the class? Yeah, Radhika, Yashaswini again, Tejas, Vicky, Madhuling, Anjali, Hassan, Hamta, Bhavna, Shekhar, Arun, Pavan, Shilpi. Good morning, all of you. Priksha, Lily, Kishan, Ravi. Yes, Rupa. Yes. Okay. Good morning. How are all of you? How are my dear students? I hope you all are fine. Yeah. Okay. Good morning. It's been quite some time, and yes, I wanted to. Yes, Pavan. Okay. Pavan called me this morning. I hope all of you are fine. As usual, we start with a very big smile. So all of you smile. Yeah. Okay. Um, See, Pavan called me this morning. He was a little worried that all of you are worried about the open elective. So let me tell you something. Yes, Shekhar, good morning. Abash, good morning. Nagma, good morning. Let me tell you, Ali Fardeen, good morning. Let me tell you something about, I'll say good morning later. Let me tell you something about the open electives. Tejas, yes, good morning. See, open electives are given, offered so that students get a flavor of an international discipline. But that should not worry you. Open elective is a must. See, some of you may have passed the Department of Performing Arts. Some of you may have passed Kannada department. As you have passed, say, Kannada department, you may have wanted to know what is there in the Kannada department. I have studied Kannada when I was till 10th standard or PUC. I would have loved to do a little more of Kannada, but I was afraid to go take completely Kannada, so I took commerce. But I would like to know a little bit about Kannada literature. Then, this is a chance for you to take an open elective in Kannada, for example. Or in performing arts, let's say you hear some music there, something is happening, some dance, you can hear the anklets there. So you're interested to find out a little bit about performing arts, Indian performing arts. Then this is a chance for you to go and into that department. Now, or you will say, see, I want to do HR or I want to be a good manager. I would like to do something more as a manager. We do not allow you, if you are an MBA, to come and take an open elective in MBA or commerce. Alright? Because these are the related subjects. But there is something like in psychology, there is something called psychology and life, which is one subject which will be related to management if you want to take a related management. Or in MCA, They offer you cyber laws or some courses like that. Yeah, I'm getting. See, man, do one thing. I don't want to. If any of you want to tell me, Yahya, good morning, Mohan, Preeti, good morning, Lavanya, Spandana, Hanumesh, all good morning. If you want to tell me something, write here only because I'll be distracted. I'm getting some messages on my phone. I hope it is not one of you. If it is, type here only. It is easier for me to see on my laptop than check my phone. Okay, Prashant, good morning. Please type happiest morning, Prashant. Yeah, a big smile for all of you. Yeah. It's simpler to see here. You want to tell me something, you want to ask a question, ask here only. Let me continue with my open elective, what I was trying to tell you. See, suppose you want to, there are related departments also, economics for example. And if you want to take related to management, any elective, open elective that is related to management. Good morning, Bharti, no? Yeah. Uh, if you want to take something related to management, there is economics, there is MCA department, and there is psychology department. They also offer. Now that is the first part. You have to select whether you want a related or an unrelated discipline. You can take anything. You can take something in chemistry, something in physics, whatever departments are there in Bangalore University. We have 54 departments, except commerce and management. That puts down two. 52 departments are open to you. You see. All right. There is Gandhian studies. There is a department near our department, Gandhian studies. So you can go there. There are so many places you can go for your open elective. Okay. Uh, right? Yashaswini, stop sending me smiles. I know you're smiling. Okay? You're distracting me. Manjunath, good morning. Very nice, Manjunath, to see you. Yeah. Given the where you are, that you're coming to a place where you can access the internet is good. Now, please remember, as I told you, one is a related discipline or an unrelated discipline. So the whole university, 52 departments are open for you. There's a statistics department, there is environmental science, then there is, so many lovely history. You want to do history like that. Then the second issue is, how do I do something in physics? What is ma'am saying? Something in physics? Something in maths? And I'm a management student. I've studied physics only in the 10th standard. This may be your concern, but you should not be concerned with this. You know why? Every department, the experts in that department have created a course which anyone unrelated, doing a subject that is unrelated to that subject can do. I'll tell you the example. When Sridhar sir and I sat and did the syllabus of what we are going to offer others from management, we did principles and practices of management. Okay, now you understand planning. We thought this was the best thing to offer. See, we cannot offer quantitative subjects. We cannot offer maths, commercial maths. Excuse me. We cannot offer accounts. We cannot offer statistics or operations research. Like that, we cannot offer to other candidates. You understand, as a MBA, you will understand this we cannot offer, but we can definitely offer principles and practices of management. So when Sridhar sir and I sat and did the syllabus, we offered them planning, organizing, directing, controlling, coordinate, post-corp, okay, organizing, recruitment, budgeting, controlling, and we put in the concepts of accountability, responsibility, delegation. All this we put the concepts and we did. And then we did a little bit about telling them what is HRM, what is marketing. This is necessary, a little bit about all that, and we clubbed together and gave a subject. Now you'll understand that if you have a friend who's doing chemistry and comes to our department, you will clearly understand that what I have told you, the contents of the subject that I have made, we have made for a chemistry student will be wonderful. They will understand what is management. We have had 20 students. Good morning, Naresh. Yeah, we have had 20 students from microbiology doing this management, elective. All right, in the first year itself. Later on is a different story, but in the first year, and they have all done well. So your concern about what if I go to performing arts and they make me dance? They may make you dance because you're interested in dance, but they'll not expect you to give a performance in the town hall. They'll expect you, they'll tell you, I don't really know what the performing arts is doing, but they'll give you basics of how to understand. Suppose you go for a art and culture program, you'll be understanding better what it means, what they are trying to propagate, etc. See, don't say how will I pass that subject, how will I get good marks. You don't have to worry, because every department will teach you from scratch to what you need. If you are looking at the examination perspective, you don't have to worry at all. All right, Devika, good morning. Yeah, you don't have to worry about that concept, right? Yeah, Ganesh, Manikanta, Tejas, Divya, Yamana, Murli, Ganesh, all of you, good morning. Now, so I told you two things. You can take an unrelated subject. You don't have to worry. You can take a related subject if you want to take. Related are, statistics is there, economics is there, MCA department is there, and psychology is there. There are so many related subjects. And if you want to go to unrelated subjects also, you don't have to worry. You want to go to microbiology, they'll teach you from basics. I told you what we are offering. We are offering, suppose you say somebody from physics or maths comes to the management department. If we teach them planning, organizing, developing, controlling, coordinating, accountability concept, responsibility concept, direction, delegation, budgeting, don't you think they can answer? Don't you think we can teach them what is marketing management, the basics of marketing management, what are the 4 P's, 7 P's, what is HRM, what is recruiting, selection, how do we do that, why is training necessary, how to analyze whether people, training needs analysis. Can we not tell them? And will they not be able to answer? They'll definitely be able to answer, isn't it? So experts from management department have done for management, right? Similarly, like your teachers are experts in your subjects, and we know what to offer exactly to others. Other teachers also are experts. They have also accordingly made a syllabus that for open elective that any other what not related department also can handle. So where you don't have to worry about the difficulty part of it, you don't have to worry about the marks part of it or the exam part of it. Now that is one thing. Now the mode of how it goes, okay? Usually we keep, all the departments keep Saturday for this purpose, all right? So suppose you're going to say, let's say psychology department you're going. Psychology department usually has the class, say at 10 o'clock on Saturday, 10 to 1 or whatever. I'm just saying, say 10 to 12 or 11 to 1 or something like that. Let's say it is 10 to 12 or 11 to 1. Let's say we'll corner it. So every Saturday, our department will give you leave to go to that department. All right, you have to go to the that department for class. All right, because those teachers will not come here, and there you will meet other disciplines, people from other disciplines. There may be commerce people sitting by your side. There may be chemistry people. Say we are going to the psychology department. There may be somebody from MSc chemistry, MSc microbiology. There may be somebody from maths. There may be from performing arts who have come to psychology department to do that subject. That's also an interesting concept. You'll meet other people. All right. And the departments are all accessible. It's not that they are in remote areas. It is all within a certain circumference. It's not a difficulty. Suppose you want to do Gandhian studies, which is to the left of our department. You'll have to go there. Now, all of the departments on a common basis, if I'm not mistaken, I don't think I'm mistaken. Usually we keep Saturdays. We do not keep classes for you in our department on Saturdays. Maybe we keep it in the afternoon or something like that. That we will work out according to that, and contextually we will work out. But on Saturdays, you will have to go to that department and take the course. Now it is mandatory that you attend class properly, do the internal assessment test. They'll give you one or two, if I'm not mistaken, two internal assessment tests, and they'll give you your internal marks will be sent to our department to upload, and then you'll have an exam. Now that exam will be just like our exam. It will be during the exam or one day previous or one last. Okay, it will not clash with any of your exams. First of all, open elective is something that you can handle. Please remember, the first thing is an open elective in any discipline is something that you can handle. It is not something that you cannot handle. Difficulty wise, or examination wise, or marks wise, or percentage wise, you don't have to worry. What you have to do is, and we will give you time, it will not clash with your daily subjects. It will not clash with the, everybody knows that you have to go there, and it is mandatory. It is, once you take up the subject, it is as serious as your production, projects and operations management class. It is mandatory. You have to go, give attendance properly, do your classes properly, listen to what they teach. If they give you notes, you have to take it down. You have to attend the two internal assessments, full serious, and give the exam. Neither the exam nor the class nor any schedule will clash with each other. You don't have to worry about that at all. You needn't say, see, 10 of us have taken marketing, and in that, out of 9 are going to some department, I'm going alone there. So what? It is the Bangalore University, it is our university. You can go to any department, it is your university. We welcome you going into various departments, learning new things. It is for your personal growth. Alright? Rather than studying the same subjects, something different. That is the intention. Okay? Now, if you have any questions, if I have not fielded any questions, you can ask me. Ashok, hi. Yes. If you have any questions, please ask me here, and then I will go on into my subject. Otherwise, what I will do is, you type the questions here. Regarding open elective, if you have any questions, you can ask. Okay. Meantime, I will start my subject. Now, originally, this is the, you have two in third semester, you have two core subjects. The first core subject, the first core subject is projects and operations management, and the second core subject is strategic management. Okay. Yes. Yes. Good morning, Malikarjun. Good morning, Anita. Ahmad, Fahim. Good morning. Ashok. Good morning. Teja, Yamuna. Everybody, good morning. Now, if you have any questions, you put the questions here in the middle or in the end. Whatever, I'll answer your questions. Please take this time to log on and tell me, ask me questions on open electives. I'll be happy to answer. Please ask, because I guess Pawan told me today is the last day or something, no? So yeah, don't be worried. You look into all those three papers neatly. Right. Oh, okay. One more thing. If you ask me what subjects our students took, last year they went into even performing arts. 1 year they all of them went to psychology and life. Okay. Because we didn't have time, and 1 year we were a little late, so they all of them, only MCA department accommodated. I think. So many of them went to MCA department. Cyber law. I think then even we have a law department also. If you are interested to know what is law and all that, you can go there. It is very close by. Everything in the vicinity. All right. So what you have to do is, after my class, go into each subject and you can choose. Please, if you are interested, please go there. They will offer class. Okay. Yeah, but you must go immediately. All right, because you cannot go after 1 month and all that. And once you take up, no, you have to do it seriously. All right. We will give you the time. Nothing will clash. Exams won't clash. Nothing will clash with each other. You don't have any mode of operations worry. That you leave. That is our responsibility. We will see that. We'll give you the correct time, and on the scheduled time you go there. That's all. Attend the class, do the internals, do the exams, you will get your percentage. You don't have to worry about that. All right? Okay. Then even I think I don't know whether foreign languages we are offering, because that foreign languages department went to. I'm not sure. You check in that, okay? Those three papers have not come to me. I don't have it currently to check, but you can also ask me questions. You can ask me questions here. All right? Okay. Now here we are. I'm going to take you projects and operations management. Now, the title may seem a little odd to you. Ma'am, usually it is production and operations management, no? You might say. Yes, this subject was production and operations management. But we changed it a little bit and made it projects and operations management because we wanted to teach you project management also. So two modules in this subject, the first two modules will be project management, which is very important, I'll tell you. But today's class will not be on project management. Today's class will be on what is production and operations management. Production and operations management. Excuse me, okay? And from tomorrow onwards, I will do projects management till I finish the two modules completely, sorry. And then I will teach you production and operations management. But today I'll give you an introduction about what is production and operations management. What's the credit score? The same. For this, no credit and all that. Same it is like other subjects. 3 or 4. You check that in your matrix, man. You have a matrix, no? See, matrix is in the first in the regulations you'll have a matrix. All right. In that you check the credit score for open elective. Same as other subjects. It's not less. It's not 2. I think it is 3 or 4. Like an elective it is. How much are the electives? Electives are 3, no? So if electives are 3, open elective is 3. See, what is the meaning of electives? Now you are in the 3rd semester, you have to understand. When I say finance specialization, it is finance stream of specialization. We'll call it finance stream. Suppose you are marketing, it is a marketing stream of specialization. If it is HR stream of specialization. Now all the subjects under finance are called electives. Alright? For example, investment and portfolio management, one finance subject, it is a finance elective. Under marketing stream, marketing specialization stream, consumer behavior will be a elective. Okay? Consumer behavior will be an elective. Say, if there is retail management, it will be a elective. So whatever subjects you have under finance will be finance electives. Similarly, whatever subjects you have, papers you have under marketing will be marketing electives. Is that clear? So how much credit a finance elective has, the same amount of credit an open elective will have. Is that clear? Check in your matrix. You will, Ravi, you will get your answer. Alright? Okay. I'll continue now. That's why I'm telling you the same amount of importance is given for the open elective. Yes, specialization 4 credit each, open elective 3 credit. Excellent. Specialization is 4, is it? I thought it was 3. Sorry, I'm mistaken. I'm getting rusty, man. Lockdown rusty this is. Lockdown rust. Okay, that's okay. Yeah, I'm not rusty with my subject, so it's okay. Okay, right? Okay. Good morning, Fawad. Yeah, Pawan has given you the answer, Ravi. He says specialization electives are 4 credits each and open elective is 3 credit. Your answer is there. Alright? Okay. Now, but the marks are the same. You have to answer for 70 only. Now, I'm talking to you about production and operations management. Alright? So, here I'm turning the laptop. Can you see? Yeah? Production and operations management. Now, what is production and operations management? Once again. Okay, what are your class objectives now? The class objectives are like this. Today you will learn the introduction of production and operations management. Then you will learn historical milestones in production and operations management. Factors affecting production and operations management today. Some things like this you will learn. I hope you can see. Now look at this chair. Can you see this chair? It is a chair that you can lounge on. Look at the style of this chair. See? Look at the style. This is the base of the chair. It has legs like this. You can see that the legs are not coming from here. You have legs here. You have hand here. And you can see this cushion. It comes, the chair ends here, but the cushion ends here. Can you see that? Yeah? There is a difference, isn't it? There is a difference in the chair than from the normal chairs. Alright? Now, why am I telling you this? Imagine class, you remember your desks, isn't it? How were the desks? Imagine your desk. There was one plank. Alright? And then if the plank was coming till say here, somewhere before the plank, one one vertical plank went, and there was a desk like that. The desk was definitely shorter than the plank. Plank extended a little more. Why? Because your books should be accommodated. At least two. When it is a two-person, two-chair, two large books have to be accommodated. Otherwise, if it's a three-person, three chairs, yes, you can see. Okay, I will give it after a while. I want to explain, and then I will show you the presentation again. Now, you remember in your mind the desks you were using. All right. Now, then after the wooden desk, there was metal, metal legs, and there was a seat for you. There was a back for you, back here for one cover like this. There was a seat for you to sit down, and in between there were metal rods, and the whole thing was sitting on a metal base. If you remember, the metal rods were of different lengths. Alright? Each metal rod was of different length. Some were similar to each other, but most of the rods were different length according to how you sit. Now, when you sat down, did you have to jump up and sit, or did you have to bend and sit? No. You could sit comfortably. How was that possible? Aesthetics. Normally, all chairs have the same, height. Alright, now I'm sitting on a straight back chair because I'm teaching you. Suppose I want to relax, I will sit on a chair that I showed you, or I'll sit on my sofa where I can relax. Now, when I'm teaching you, I cannot relax. Yeah, good. Good morning, Annapurna, yeah. When I'm teaching you, I cannot relax and teach. So I need a chair with a straight back. If you can see, I'm sitting, this is my dining chair, and with a straight back chair. Alright? So, various considerations are there. We are talking about furniture. Alright? Various considerations are there. Alright? Now, if you see behind me, see here, where I'm showing here, you can see my cupboard where there is a glass, both, see? There is a glass. Okay, there is a glass here and there is a glass here. You can see my mixie. I can see what I can kept here. I'm going now and I'm going to show you this cupboard. Can you see this cupboard? Can you see anything inside? You cannot. Actually, I have not kept properly. In this cupboard which I'm showing, I should keep my mixie. In that there are glasses. In this cupboard where there is a glass showcase, I should keep items which which look nice, etc. For sure. So those glasses should have come here. I have escaped, that is different. Okay. Now, if you can see my kitchen, you can see behind, you can see here, you can see the plug points, etc. And you can also see, if you go up here, wait, here, this one. There's a small little shelf where I have kept a small little bottle. It's not a big bottle. All this. Now, in a kitchen, for example, I have large bottles, I have small bottles, I have fat bottles, etc. There should be shelves for each type of bottle. All right. I'm not saying, at least for long bottle, for short bottle, there should be different. If I keep a short bottle in the place where a long bottle is supposed to be kept, the rest of the space is waste. All right. I cannot at the same time, if I have short space for a long bottle, I cannot keep the bottle. I have to keep the bottle like this. I cannot keep the bottle like this. Ridiculous. It will roll and fall and break. You understand? So please remember, for everything there is an objective and there's a goal. I'm sitting on a straight back chair. Why? Because I want to be active when I teach you. I'm not going to lounge and sit and teach. I would not look active. You would not be able to understand what I'm teaching. I may feel, Mithun, good morning. I may feel sleepy, isn't it? Accordingly. In class, why have you been given wooden chairs? If we were given you sofa chairs, you would have been sleeping, isn't it? Yeah. So there's an objective to everything that we do in life. Every how to sit, where to stand. If you see in our class, as you enter, there is place for the teacher to move about. There is a platform kept for the teacher to stand. The board is on the place where all of you can see. Why don't we keep the board on the side? Do you want to sit like this and watch the board like this, or do you want to watch the board like this? You understand? There's an objective for every object kept in a particular place. The teacher stands in front of you. I cannot stand at the back and teach, isn't it? You would like to see my face, isn't it? So, and in the between, see, you have, as you enter, you have one row of desks. Imagine from the back you're seeing. You see one row on the right, you see one row on the left, and a center row. Alright? You have aisle, walking place for the teacher to walk about and knock you on the head if you're being naughty. Isn't it? So we have an aisle there, we have an aisle here, and we have a place for the teacher to walk about. Isn't it? This is how the fans are placed. There is something called design. There is something called planning. There is something called production planning. How to produce, what to produce, for what purpose. The furniture of a classroom is different from the furniture of a lounge in a hotel. The furniture on the lounge in the waiting room is different from other furniture. You understand? The office furniture is different. Office chairs are different. The computer chair is a rotating chair because you need to rotate, for example. And you can adjust the height for a computer, this thing. Why? You should be eye to eye with a laptop. You understand? Why am I sitting in my kitchen? Because this table, my dining table, is just right for me to, project myself. Otherwise, I'll have to hold my laptop in my hand. I cannot sit on another chair in my this thing. Somehow it is not managing. So I have a goal, and to fulfill that goal, I should have adequate infrastructure. For this adequate infrastructure, we need to learn production and operations management. Let us concentrate on the desks in your class. All right. The desks have a long, table like this, isn't it? It is the longest wooden plank that you see in the entire desk. Now, suppose you imagine the blackboard. Okay, imagine the blackboard, or I'll take this cover and I'll show you like this. Imagine this is the blackboard. Okay, now I want. One second. I just kept a pen here. Just hold on. The pen has rolled. Sorry. Yeah, there it is. Yeah. Now this, imagine this is the blackboard. Now I want to cut a plank that is long. Imagine from this board I am cutting this plank. Okay, this is a plank and I have cut it. Now you can see I have placed this very properly. Okay, sorry, I have placed this properly. Like this I can cut one more, two more, three more maybe. Understand? Instead of placing it like this, imagine I am cutting which is correct. What will happen if I randomly place one plank here and cut from this brown board one plank like this? Is this correct or is this correct? If I cut this like this, I can cut one more, two more, three more maybe. But when I cut it like this, what happens? I don't know whether I can cut one more here, maybe one more I can cut here and none more. But if I cut it like this, I can cut more, again I can cut here, I can cut here. There is no wastage. I have planned how to cut, etc. This is also part of projects and operations management. Designing say a furniture or anything, maybe a building, if you are in the construction business, designing a product. Okay, designing, when I talk about designing, let's talk about a toothpaste. Alright, initially when we were young, I am still young, when I was younger, there used to be toothpaste with a metal, you have the squeezy now, a plastic squeezy, you can squeeze it very nicely. We used to have it in metal, and every time little toothpaste gets over, we used to fold it and use the rolling pin to move it like that, save all the toothpaste. So we used to keep on folding the toothpaste, and so that we don't have to squeeze it from the bottom every day. So the bottom used to be rolled up. It wasn't easy. So to make it squeeze easy, you have squeezies now. Easily you can squeeze. Now you have the aperture, opening of the Marcus. You have the opening of the toothpaste, right? How broad should it be? Every day morning in sleepy eyes you will come and you will squeeze the toothpaste, right? And on your toothbrush, only so much toothpaste will come. One day, say somebody, your naughty brother or sister or somebody has made that aperture bigger, and in the same sleepy eyes you are coming and squeezing it. What will happen? 2 days toothpaste will be out on the toothbrush. Try putting it back. Have you tried putting back toothpaste? Next to impossible, isn't it? Maybe a little bit will go because of that squeezy. But see, this is also an idea. When I was in MBA, one of my sirs told me this story. He said, somewhere, Sushant, good morning. Roshan, good morning. Sujan, good morning. Sabin, good morning. Shri, good morning. Mithun, good morning. So, one of my teacher was telling me that there was this Indian who was working in the United States, and he was told, higher end fire system is more there. Now everywhere there is. When those times. So what happened is, this man was told, increase the sales by 5%, we'll give you 3 months, otherwise tata bye bye, you can go home, okay, find another job. You know what this fellow did? I believe he went to the production department and told them, the aperture of the toothpaste opening, make it slightly bigger, maybe by 1 or 2 mm, okay, and it was done. So sleepy eyed you will come and squeeze with the same pressure like yesterday or my previous toothpaste, and what will happen? What is more than necessary toothpaste will come out. So if your toothpaste would come for 20 days, imagine, Now your toothpaste will come for 18 days or 17 days. So 3 days toothpaste you have mandatorily to buy more. So I'm just telling you, this is one story which my sir claimed was true. So let's believe him, it is true. Still, it is an interesting anecdote. Okay. So design also is part of production and operations management. Then planning is also part of production and operations management. Now see, for example, I want to paint my house. Okay, if you ask me what color you want, ma'am, I'll tell you, I want pinkish, yellowish, silverish gold. Pinkish, yellowish, silverish gold, which means pink, yellow, silver and gold you have to mix. Let us say we are taking the 4 paints, pink, yellow, silver, gold. Who is going away, man? Why my class is so bad that you're going away? I'm watching, okay? I'm watching. Yeah, section A and section B. I'll mark the attendance at the end. I know, I've got a very sharp memory. I know who is there and who is not there. Don't you dare run away. Now, I have pink, yellow, silver and gold paint. Alright. So I mix a bit of this, I mix a bit of this, I mix a bit of this. I said, no, it's too yellow. Some more pink. No, silver. Like that. I want the silver sheen, something. Finally, I got a lovely shade that I want. Pinkish, yellowish, silverish, goldish. Okay. And then now I have a bowl full of paint, but I want bucket full of paint to paint the house. Now, can I remember what I did, how much of pink went, how much of yellow went, how much of silver and gold went? I cannot remember. So, in production and operations management, we have automated some things like automated mixing of paints on the computer. We have done computerization. So, suppose I mix pink, yellow, silver and gold on the screen and I got the best combination. I know exactly how much of pink went. My system will tell me how much of yellow went into it, how much of silver went into it, how much of gold went into it. I know exactly how much. So I can get the same sheen again. That's a beautiful thing that I can get. Even if this is over, if I want to paint another room with another bucket of paint, I can get the same, exactly the same. This is thanks to automation and computerization of production and operations management. Secondly, have I wasted any paint? I haven't. Suppose I mixed one big bowl of paint and I said, no, I'm not going to get the right sheen. Throw it, start again from scratch. I have wasted that much of paint. You understand? Physical wastage is avoided and correct measurements are given. And you can do any kind of experimentation when it is a computer program, like digital photographs. You can take how many photographs you want, except if it is a DSLR, per exposure, you get a little depreciation. But in your digital cameras, you can take how many photos you want. You can delete how many photos you want. So automation and computerization are also included in production and operations management. All right. I told you we are looking at this chair. Let's come back to watching our chair. Okay. You can see my chair, isn't it? Okay. This is the chair. All right. Yeah. So you can see that this is obviously a lounging chair, isn't it? Aram se you can sit down. So the design of this chair, you see the back, there is an inclination. It is like a bucket seat. It is not like a seat in a bus. It is a bucket seat, you see. This is meant for relaxation. I told you the cushion is extending. If this is the chair, the cushion is extending. I think the chair is coming till here. Cushion is extending. Why? Because of comfort. If you see down here, there is no, see, these legs are not like this. The legs are here. It's because you can swing a bit on the chair. If you sit on the chair, you can swing a bit. So there's a particular design involved in this. Now let's go on. I'll tell you what is production and operations management. Is the management of an organization's production system. I will send this one, unfortunately or fortunately, is embedded with a lot of videos. So I'm unable to send you the video like that only. With the video, I'm unable to send you the presentation. So what I'll do is I will delete the videos and send you the presentation later. Okay. So production and operations management is the management of an organization's production system. So we come to what is a production system. So POM, or production and operation management, is the management of the production system. So what is the production system? A production system takes inputs and converts them into outputs. I take a tomato, I cut it, I fry it, and I make a tomato chutney. So the tomato chutney is my output. You understand? I take a piece of clay, which is the input, I model it into, say, a ball, or I model it into the shape of a face. The face is my output. You understand? The face is my output. So production system takes inputs and converts them into outputs. I take cane and bamboo and I make a basket. The cane and bamboo is my input. The basket is my output. Alright? Now, the conversion process is the predominant activity of a production system. Converting an input into an output is the production system, and the conversion process is the predominant activity, the main activity or the main metamorphosis between an input becoming an output is the conversion process. The primary concern of an operations management is the activities of the conversion process. Now, I told you design, I told you automation, I told you planning, no wastage. These are all the subsystems or all the different issues that you see in a conversion system. Now, I am going to show you a small video on how soap bars are made. I try to share the screen on my MacBook, but unfortunately the process is not this thing. Wait, I'll show you. Can you wait? I'll show you. I'll start. See, this is different kinds of soaps. Now they're showing you how the soap is made. You can see, right? Class.
Soap that's settled at the bottom of the kettle. They pour it all into this tank and reuse it in the next batch. Now they spray hot liquid soap onto a big metal roll. It solidifies in a flash, and a big blade scrapes it off the roll, creating ribbons of soap. The soap ribbons plunge into a hopper, where an auger moves the soap along, sending it down a chute. The soap ribbons fall all the way to the next floor, to big steel rollers called mills. They mix and compress the soap. A blade scrapes it off the rollers and cuts it into ribbons again, but these soap ribbons are denser. Inside the next hopper, another auger turns. It pushes the soap through an extruder called a noodle plate that shapes it into soap noodles.
Finish the video. Very good.
As the noodles fall from the extruder, they're collected in bins, which are then dumped into a mixer. At this point, they add color in powder and liquid form. Steel blades stir it up until the color coats the soap noodles. They add some fragrant oils, and the blades toss it all together. When the batch is ready, a trap door opens. The blades keep turning, nudging the soap out the door. Then it's forced through another noodle plate. This mixes up the batch a little more. Next, they push the soap through a forming plate, making a long bar. Blades mounted on a track slice it into shorter pieces called slugs. The soap slugs are on their way to the next stage. They're on a 2-lane thoroughfare, heading into a die press. A mechanical arm pushes the slugs through an oval plate, trimming it and then loading it into the die. The die rotates to accept the slugs. Mechanical presses move into shape and stamp them. Mechanical arms suction the bars to remove them from the die. These mechanical pushers help. They nudge the soap bars out of the die towards the suctioning arms. The oval soap bars now travel through a wrapping station. A blade crimps and heat seals the plastic wrap in one fell swoop. Then automated grippers grab the wrapped bars and load them into a machine, which slides them into little boxes. Now it's time to pack it in and scrub up with the soap of your choice.
Okay, I hope you enjoyed the video. Yes, I just showed you guys the conversion process. The raw material here was the chemicals that went in, maybe the fat, because we call it the TFM, no? TFM should be more than 75% if your soap has to keep your skin moisturized. So the TFM you can see in a soap, the fat content and then, the chemicals, the oils that went in, the fragrances that went in, the color that went in. These are all the inputs, and the soap bars are the output. Of course, after the soap bars were manufactured, you saw that they were packed. So packaging, also packing and packaging is also part of production and operations management. We'll now proceed. If you have something to tell me, I hope you can see. Great. Now you can next. You look at this kitchen drawer sorter. Now you can see here there is a box here, there is a box here, and there is something here like that. Would you like to throw everything into your kitchen drawer? Like suppose imagine there are 2 plates, there are 3-4 glasses, there are some 6 spoons and forks and knives and everything. Would you like to put them in these boxes and keep? See this one nicely sorted out, this box here, there's a container here. Would you like to keep it like this, or would you like to keep it, just throw it? So again, the design, the planning of this kitchen drawer is just an example of how production and operations management works. Now look at this. Now I'm talking about production and also talking to you about operations. Now you may be wondering, how is production different from operations? This slide will tell you how production management is different from operations management. Operations management, decisions, processes and issues. See, decisions, processes and issues that involve the creation of tangible goods. Here you can see someone putting strawberries into a strawberry crusher. I don't know for what he's using it. Maybe he wants to make squash or jam or something. So the strawberries here are the input. So the decision of how many strawberries to put every minute is a decision. For example, what kind of strawberries to put, grade 1, grade 2, grade 3, that is also a decision. The process of putting the strawberries into the strawberry crusher is a process. And issues, where should I hold it, how should I hold it, how should I crush it, there are various issues. So the issues, decisions and processes that involve the creation of tangible goods. What are tangible goods? Goods that you can touch, feel and see. Say strawberry squash here, strawberry juice here, strawberry jam here. These are the outputs. So the tangible goods out of this strawberry crushing could be any of this, or just strawberry crushed maybe, so these are tangible goods. Now this is called production management or manufacturing. I repeat, the decisions, the processes and issues that involve the creation of tangible goods is called production management. So then what is operations management? When there is intangible services involved, we call it operations management. The decisions, processes and issues that involve the creation of intangible services are called service operations management. Suppose you go to a hospital or a bank. Let's say you're going to a bank. They say at the beginning at the door on the left, you're supposed to take a token. Then you have to sit in the waiting room, and then they will call. If your token number is 4, when you say 4, they'll tell you number 4, go to counter number 2. So you go to counter number 2, or maybe you have to go to counter number 1, and they will ask you what do you want or something like that. Then they'll direct you to the certain. You want to deposit a check there, you have to deposit a check there, or you want to withdraw money. This is the way you have to withdraw money, or this is the where you have to go, which counter you have to go. You have to make you have to create some kind of promissory note or something like that. What you have to do, go to which counter, you have to send money abroad, which counter, something like this they'll tell you. So there is a system there also where intangible services are concerned. So there you have what we call services operations management. Now again you see this, production management involves transforming raw materials and component parts into finished or semi-finished goods with the aid of capital, labor and technology. Capital means money. Without funding, we cannot move anything. We need to pay people, we need to maintain the factory, we need to do maintenance of buildings, we need to buy raw material. Whole range of items require funding, and that is supplied by capital. Labor is the workforce, and technology, how to do, what to do, etc. Now I am going to show you one video on how bubble gum is made. Okay, not a nice thing. Before, it seems they used to take resin or gum from trees and they used to make it into bubble gum. These days the bubble gum we eat is made from plastic. You listen to the video. I'll show you how bubble gum is made. Alright. Okay, here we will.
Chewing gum dates back to the ancient Greeks who chewed resin from trees. Modern chewing gum was patented in the U.S. in 1869 by, believe it or not, a dentist. In 1928, another American invented bubble gum. Bubble gum comes in gumballs of all colors and sizes. But for blowing bubbles, nothing beats the chewy, gooey pink stuff in the twist wrap. It all starts with the gum base, the stuff that makes gum chewy. Traditionally, the base came from tree resin. Today it's synthetic, made of plastics and rubbers. They pour the gum base into a mixer, then add color and flavoring. As it begins mixing, they pour in glucose syrup, a sweetener. Because it's liquid, it helps keep the gum base soft. Next, they add dextrose, a powdered sweetener. They blend the ingredients for about 20 minutes. The stirring action builds up heat, which melts everything together. The mixture's ready when it reaches the consistency of bread dough. They transfer it by cart to a machine called the pre-extruder. The machine squeezes the mixture through a narrow opening, like squeezing toothpaste from the tube. This transforms the big, bulky wad into thin, manageable strips that can then go through the extruders. The extruders squeeze each strip down to the actual width of a piece of bubble gum. It comes out as one long, continuous stream to be cut into bite-sized pieces later on. This extrusion process heats up the gum. If they were to cut and wrap it now, it would stick to the wrapper. So the next stop is a cooling chamber. The gum goes in for 15 minutes at temperatures between 37 and 45 degrees Fahrenheit. When the bubble gum comes out, it's cooled down enough for what they call the cut and wrap. One machine does both jobs in a fraction of a second. Watch the action in slow motion. As the continuous stream of gum enters on one end, the machine cuts it into bite-sized pieces, pushes each piece into a wax paper wrapper, then twists both ends of the wrapper closed. Here's the slow motion replay from a different angle. The machine processes 900 pieces of bubble gum per minute. Last stop, packaging. The bubble gum moves onto a scale that automatically weighs out the right amount per tub. They seal the tub with plastic to make it airtight. This keeps the bubble gum fresh. Ever wonder why bubble gum is pink? It's because that's the only color Walter Deemer had on hand when he invented this drink back in 1928. Since then, the color just stuck.
Yeah, class. Okay. Sorry. Yeah. I don't know why my MacBook is not connecting to this thing. I'm not able to charge it. So I'm worried it will go off. 1 second. I'll try once again. I'm afraid my Mac will go off, so I will stop here. If you have any questions, see, Yashaswini has sent me all the different. You have electives in English, social work, women's studies, sociology. You can take your choice, man. Psychology, communication, which is next to us, electronic media you have. You see, there are so many open electives here. Physics, electronic media, skills for broadcast media, it seems, in electronic media. So many electives are there. I'm sure you can take your choice. I'm sorry, class. My battery of my Mac, which I'm projecting from, is very low, and it is simply that green light and the yellow light is simply not coming because I'm charging through one socket, different socket. So I will work this out, but I desperately wanted to start class today, and I have started class. Thank you for listening. I will come back tomorrow at 10 a.m. Alright? And I will continue class. You have any more doubts, you can ask me, and I will continue class. Today I'm really sorry. I intended to take 2 hours. I am unable to take. I don't know what is wrong with my plugins. I will check it. Okay, it was delightful to have you here, but class, there are only 47 of you. 151 people are there. Hassan, this question you must ask the head of the department, not me. Alright? Please ask the concerned people the concerned questions. About my classes, I can tell you. Alright? And, okay? So tomorrow I will continue with my class. Bye everybody. At least I started. I'm happy about that. I could not start earlier because one thing is I had some work. I had to go out of station to Mangalore University, official work. Also before that we were conducting, after your exams, we were conducting vivas for all the 27, 28 colleges that are under Bangalore University. We went and conducted vivas. Okay. So the vivas are over. 2 or 3 colleges per day we did, which is mandatory. Your seniors also had vivas, no? So we finished all that, and then we also had some work. We had directors meeting on Saturday and all that. After that, we will this thing. Okay. Now these questions, Mallikarjun, is for the head of the department. Okay. I'm not in touch with all those little things and all that. Please ask the head of the department. I will, when I'm head of the department, I will definitely answer your questions because I will know what is happening where. Currently, I don't know. Alright? Okay, please ask the office. These are things that you should ask the office. You can ask me about how to select open elective, what is production, POM, everything you can ask me currently. Okay? When I sit on that chair, I'll answer all your questions. Alright? Love you all. Take care. Keep smiling. Tomorrow, sharp 10, and tell your friends I'm watching who is there. And I have a very sharp memory. I know who is there. I'm going to mark attendance. Alright? And it will reflect in your internal marks if you don't attend my classes. Online or not, my classes are a must for you. Alright? Love you all. Take care. Thank you for attending. Tomorrow, 10 a.m. sharp. Bye. Have a great day. Bye.